Reese, I just don't get this movie.
What's not to get?
It's got 70s bangers, waterbeds, crazy Bradley Cooper, and grooming, but not one Licorice Pizza to be found.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Marathon Me with your hosts Reese
And Kane.
and we are on our final leg of the PTA train, the final carriage.
The final frontier.
We are on to our 9th Paul Thomas Anderson movie. We made it, we finally made it, and in a weird way, it feels like revisiting its roots. We're watching Licorice Pizza today, everyone, and it's a 70s sort of period piece full of sentimentality, exploring and almost this love letter to where Paul Thomas Anderson came from as a whole. And it feels like we've almost had a full circle moment here, from the last few films being some of the most mature films that PTA has had, where this one is probably closest to the most like strictly hangout movie, where it's literally a lot of just kids being kids, fucking around, and this struggle between childhood and youth and what being an adult is all about. Kane, you had seen Licorice Pizza before, right?
Yes, this is the only other PTA film I had already seen before starting this marathon. I remember you and I watched this together at the shout out Estor Theatre.
We did
way back in 2021. I remember logging this film onto Letterboxd, and I'm like, fucking hell, it has been that long since seeing this movie. There's like so much time has passed. That is insane to think about. And yeah, you are right that this is definitely comparatively to a lot of his previous films, especially like the ones that, you know, especially like some of the more the 2010s era and like 2000s, is that this is a lot more smaller in scale almost, where it's you know, for lack of a better word, a hangout movie. It's just kids being kids, yeah.
It feels a bit like going back to basics. And
yeah, really,
I think that it works for this movie and allows the sort of smaller story to really shine, where it is an extremely interpersonal small story that's being told here, right? This could not be more different to something like There Will Be Blood, which is a grand statement on society and culture shifting and God being replaced, where this is just about growing up, coming of age, what it means to be a kid and what it means not to.
Just a simple romance between a 15-year-old kid and a 25-year-old woman. You know, simple stuff.
Yeah, and that is where it gets a little bit complicated.
I mean, you know, leave it to PTA to, you know, make a film that's deceptively simple, add a little bit of complication in the mix, just to get the people talking.
Yeah, and with this being the most recent feature film of PTA's filmography, and having not made anything else since in a big grand scale, I'm going to give a little bit of an update of PTA in the meantime, between Phantom Thread and this film, which a big shift of tones and setting and location, right? So you would assume that there was a little bit of weirdness going on between here. And mostly what the work that PTA did between those two films was a lot more work for Haim, the band, which makes a lot of sense, seeing then that our main lead here is Alana Haim, her first acting debut, and you can see how much that she's treated, her character and her role in this film as a whole is treated with so much adoration that you can see how them working together through Haim's music. They're doing their music videos here and there, that he saw something in this person and this group of girls, and and wanted to explore something else with them. And
Yeah.
And also another thing that PTA brought out in the meantime is a short film called Anima, which is this...
Yes, I've heard of this one, yeah.
I know that, Kane, you said that you really wanted to watch this one. Did you watch it?
I have not seen it yet, but what is it available on? Because I want to make sure I watch it before the ranking.
Okay, it's on Netflix. It is a Netflix original,
beautiful.
which... Also, really, really quick side note that I want to just get out there. Netflix, I think, have done a really, really good, interesting thing where they have pretty much an exclusive piece of content in any weird way with a lot of the go-to auteur directors when you think of an auteur director with a distinct filmography. Like, as in, when you think of the people that like Tarantino, PTA, Martin Scorsese, Wes Anderson, those people.
Right.
All of them have at least one piece of Netflix exclusive media that is...
yeah, right.
That, and I like how with Martin Scorsese, it's in the traditional feature-length film sort of situation. But then Netflix owns a little bit of Tarantino's sort of filmography and his legacy. That's the word I'm looking for. In the way that is the only way that you can watch the serialized extended version of The Hateful Eight. And then Wes Anderson has all of his Roald Dahl shorts, which are Netflix exclusives and originals. And then a little bit of the PTA legacy exists on the Netflix catalog in the shape of Anima, which is a 15-minute trippy music video starring and composed by Tom York from Radiohead, and feels very Punch Drunk Love adjacent, I believe. Stylistically, in the weird...
Really? Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
it has this weird fairy tale, sort of isolating sensation to the entire video. A lot of lens flares in the same way of how Punch Drunk Love has that. And even in this 15-minute music video, it is about lost lovers finding each other in a world where they feel out of place. Which is essentially Punch Drunk Love.
Damn, this is actually... Man, I actually have a reason to maybe get a Netflix subscription. Damn, okay, well, hats off to you, Tom York and PTA. Hats off to you guys.
and hats off to you, Netflix, for planting your flag in all of these legacies of auto directors, because that's exactly what it's so freaking beneficial for them, right? Because there's going to be nerds like us that need to complete the entire catalog for a director that we really like.
Oh, completely.
You have no option other than going to Netflix for that. But anyway, a really quite an enjoyable sort of little side story for PTA, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the story of Alana, who is a woman in her mid-20s and is someone quite sort of lost in her life, lacking ambition, is in a place that she doesn't want to be at this point in her life trajectory. And it takes a 15-year-old Gary, a teenager convinced that he's more than a 15-year-old, with the drive, charisma, and demeanor of an adult that becomes her new guiding light, and ultimately a symbol of escape from her lack of direction in life and reclaiming something that she has let go and left for granted. And here's a bit of the trailer of Licorice Pizza.
And her daddy has told her to go.
Listen, young lady.
But her friend is nowhere to be seen.
So how'd you become such a hotshot actor?
I'm a showman. That's what I'm meant to do.
To the seat with the clearest view. And she's hooked to the silver screen.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbra Streisand?
Barbra Streisand.
Sand.
Yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like beaches.
Barbra Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
But the film is a sad thing for.
This is fate that brought us together.
But she's lived it 10 times or more.
Our roads took us here.
She could spit in the eyes of fools.
You're not my director.
They ask her to focus on.
Do you really want to see my boobs?
Can I touch them?
See you tomorrow.
So Kane, did revisiting the 70s and Licorice Pizza did it grab you? What were your feelings about this movie?
All right, so I'll quickly touch on my opinion real quick about my first time watching this film. Was that I liked it, but it did not do a lot for me at all. Maybe I think I went into the film expecting something completely different, and what I got was something that it just left. It left a lot to be desired, my first viewing, basically. So I was curious going into rewatching it, and I will say that I definitely liked it a lot more upon the upon revisiting this film. There was a lot more to get out of it. I'm still not in love with it, I'll be honest, but there was a lot more to grab onto, I feel, this time around, especially like given the passage of time and the way, like, how much I've changed as a person and like how I view films. There was more to grab onto, more to chew on, I would say.
Okay, yeah, fair.
What about you, Reese?
Okay, so it's an interesting one because on paper, this should be one of my favorite movies of all time. It's set in the 70s, it's coming of age, it's super sentimental, and it's got these really grounded, down-to-earth, complicated main characters. But complicated is a good way to explain my emotions about this film, is that I'm not the biggest fan of how the lack of cleanliness with the script in comparison to other PTA efforts in the past.
Yeah.
And for obvious reasons, the romance I couldn't properly get behind all the way from the start.
I'll get it. I'll get into the romance. We'll get into that. But yeah, go on.
But I did realize this time around that I think that you're supposed to feel conflicted and complicated about this dynamic and the romance between these two leads. I don't think that is lost on PTA or anyone involved in the film for a second, is that it is weird and not really the most ethical of romances ever. But ultimately, I enjoyed... Okay, so I got a lot more out of it this time around, but I aesthetically and probably emotionally got a little bit less out of it than my first viewing. I think that it slapped me in the face a little bit more on my first viewing, and also watching it in the Astor Theatre on, I think it was on 70mm as well when we saw it. Some of those moments just were pure euphoric bliss for me. And those moments this time around, again, I did really enjoy it, but the not being in a cinematic environment did definitely devalue it a little bit for me.
It would hit less. It hit less hard, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel less ethically conflicted with this than I did on the first watch.
Okay.
I think that I feel comfortable about how I sit now with the romance and with the direction of this film. And it really, really reminds me of a film like Moonrise Kingdom, which is very much a movie that is about feeling, and it is like, it's all about the sensory experience of going through this ride instead of, I think, the narrative, the plot being so essential. I think it's more about the emotional journey that it takes you through.
Okay. Well, like in a sense, I do agree. Where it's like it's more a sensory experience, this film, because one takeaway I had upon a rewatch is that, similar to something like Inherent Vice, that I feel that Licorice Pizza does better, is that it feels like a nice hangout movie where you're spending almost a little bit under 2.5 hours just hanging out with these characters in the San Fernando Valley during a really hot summer. And that's one of the takeaway that I really enjoyed, is that you're thrust into this world, into this friend group where they're concocting their little schemes and going on these misadventures, and it's a bit of a cozy watch, I feel, honestly. That while narratively I'm not crazy about this film still narratively. But I do like that it feels like a almost slice of life, almost, you know?
Yeah. I like that you say that this feels like a cozy movie because it oozes with this nostalgia, even like sort of fake nostalgia, because of course we're not nostalgic to the 70s. We weren't born then. But it feels so sentimental, and you feel like that you're a part of that place, right? Pretty much undeniably. And the lens has this warm glow to it.
Oh, I love it. I love the use of the sun and the warm color and the warm coloration of this film. Even the scenes shot at night, you still feel that warm glow, which I just absolutely adored about this film. If there's one takeaway that I adored about this film, it's just how it looks and how it's presented. I think it is gorgeous.
It feels sweaty and oily, and it really does make, like, you are not getting a direct recreation of the 70s here. You are getting this rose-tinted glasses recollection instead of a recreation. And that is always, I think, feels a lot more personal, and I'm probably a lot more interested in, other than just like this is accurate and this is what it would have looked like then. This is it's giving you an appropriated memory almost, and that lets you live out an experience rather than just a location. So I really did adore that. And also, the soundtrack is so much my fucking jam. Lives rent-free in my brain, especially the song Let Me Roll It by Paul McCartney. My God.
I was waiting. It was only a matter of time before that song was brought up. But yeah, that is a song that has cast a huge impact on this man right here. Me as well. I really love the song, but Reese... Oh my days! You live in God! Ever since watching this film, you have lived and breathed this song, man. Like every now and again, in the car with this gentleman, that song will always end up coming up in rotation, and I love it every time.
It's in my top 5 without a doubt. Listening to this song and kissing someone, oh my God, there's nothing better in life.
I can imagine. Fucking hell, man.
But the thing that I have to admire about this film is how effectively it immerses me emotionally. It really, really does. I feel so much of what these characters are feeling at particular moments. And do you agree with this? I mean,
to an extent, yes, I do. But I definitely know for a fact not as strongly compared to your perspective, compared to your experience, I'll say.
Like, I want to bring up definitely some examples that are highlighted to me. Like, even like the moment when Alana and Lance start getting together, and Lance is the actor Skylar Gisondo, who is in like the Vacation remake, and he's also in Booksmart, and he's one of those faces that I think that like everyone just knows now. And even though that like at this point, Alana and Gary, they're not like romantically involved yet, but I can't help but feel heartbroken for Gary when he sees them holding hands in front of the diner. Do you feel the same way?
No, I definitely felt that kind of that adolescent pit in your stomach that you feel when there's a girl you fancy and you see her, even if it's not romantic, but you just see her with another guy, whether it be like a guy you don't know, or especially if it's a guy you know, almost like a rival. Oh yeah, you feel that pit in your stomach form.
Yes, you are so right that it is this adolescent feeling. It's that like, and it recreates this feeling of being a teenager. And like, I remember feeling this when I was 13 years old, year 7 crush, saw her at a shopping center. I was with my mom, and I even told her about this girl and how much I was into her. And then me and my mom run into this girl, and she's holding hands with another boy that we go to school with. And that deep pit sensation, it recreates that here so so quickly as well, because this only happens in the first half an hour to 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And already you feel heartbroken. And then when Alana sees Gary making out with Sue later at the opening night of the waterbed business, I feel heartbroken for her as well. Not even that I'm directly rooting for them to get together, but you can feel this adolescent like drive and jealousy.
It's a great like scenes like that are a great like recreation of those adolescent feelings, I think.
And and then it does the same thing in the opposite way of giving you butterflies and this intense warmth in your stomach in the moments where Gary and Alana are looking at each other after the bike jump and after Gary has run to her, and then when they are lying on the waterbed together. Those two moments, oh my god, the fucking butterflies of, I don't know these people. They're not people that are in my life, but I feel like I'm in this dynamic and I'm feeling this intense desire for the other one. It's nuts.
No, I completely get what you mean, man.
And it's just complete emotion translated on screen and through this film, I feel.
It definitely not to harp on the same point that you made, but it is definitely a great. The film excels not only in putting us in this environment, but putting us in the headspace of experiencing adolescent love in a sense. You know what I mean? Like the love, the heartbreak. There's these high racing emotions almost. You know?
Yeah, just like Moonrise Kingdom, which doesn't have the cleanest, most succinct plot or narrative, but it does make you feel those things. It makes you feel that adolescent love.
They are both movies of. They are both. I would like to say movies of vibes. They are vibe movies.
Yeah. Vibe film, vibe cinema,
vibe cinema. For lack of a better word, vibe cinema. Trademark Kane Murcott.
And what I think this movie does to me, which is like is skill of the film, is it makes me fall in love with Alana. Like it really does. And PTA has said in interviews how much affection that he has for her. And I remember when the film came out and seeing this interview where he on stage talks about his affection for her and just complete adoration. I was like, okay, I get it now. And it's like the lens, you can feel the love for this person. And it's and I don't think it's in a creepy way. PTA is happily married, has 3 children, and Alana Haim is much younger than him. But it's like he's like, this is a really beautiful layer to this anecdote, is that the Haim sisters, their mother was a primary school art teacher for PTA when he was...
really?
Yeah. Their mum was his art teacher, and the impression that she left on him was incredible. And was like one of his favorite teachers ever, and he thought about her for years. And he kept paintings that they made together when he was in primary school to this very day. In the first night that Chaim went over to PTA's house for dinner one night for them to have a meeting and introduction and sort of break the ice for these potential collaborations that they're going to have together. And in this first night, they mentioned to him, because he didn't even know this or make the connection, was our mother actually taught you when you were in primary school.
That's insane. What the fuck?
And then PTA is like, hey, I'll be back in just a moment, goes out to the garage, pulls out a painting that he was like, me and your mother painted this together.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
And this affection for Alana Haim is almost his channeled love and adoration for Miss Rose, his fucking 3rd grade art teacher.
Wow. Holy
How
fuck.
lovely is that?
That's beautiful, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. And Alana is just a wonderful in-depth character in this. And how the fuck has Alana Haim not acted before this movie?
Yeah, no, honestly, it was like going into like watching this movie initially. Like I didn't know the band Haim. I didn't know who Alana Haim was, but I assumed that she was like some up and coming actress or whatever. But the fact that this is her first role, like that's fucking impressive. I'll tell you what, man, because like fucking hell, she excels in this movie. My God.
She's barely even had any like narrative credits, like acting credits since. It's pretty much her only. Yeah.
Wow.
Everything else is just her like related to doing Haim stuff.
Well, it's also kind of crazy as well, is that like, you know, a lot of times when you get musicians in films, a lot of the times they can bomb really hard and, you know, they don't have those acting capabilities, but you know, when they do, it's really impressive. And you know, Alana Haim in this movie is like, that's an example of a fucking like we said with Johnny Greenwood, you know, a jack of all trades kind of artist kind of thing, you know what I mean? With her being, you know, acting, music, and now acting, like fucking hell.
Yeah, it's not a Harry Styles situation where you just see Harry Styles up there all the fucking time.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Alana and Gary. I think that I got the greatest sense of Alana when this idea came into my head of that she seems to be mourning and this ambitious youth that she didn't have.
Yeah.
And that's why she is so attracted to Gary. And just like attracted to him in this sense of just like wants to be around him, wants to have something, and wants him to be in her life. And meanwhile, Gary is then this interesting play on the PTA man-child being a boy that is so convinced that he's a man while still being a boy. And the desire for Alana is such a symbol of him proving to himself and the world that he is a man by scoring and getting with and being romantic with this actual woman. Where she more means almost that she can regress and go back a little bit more because she sort of regrets that the last 7 years of her adulthood have been wasted and she doesn't really have much to show for it. So being with Gary and being an extension of him allows her to reclaim her youth a little bit.
Yeah, no, that is a good way to look at it. Yeah, that like was really lost on me the first time watching this movie because obviously first time watching this movie is like, oh my god, it's a bit of a groomer core fucking relationship kind of thing. But like, take that away and look deeper into it on a reviewing of this film. Is that she's like almost like trying to reclaim a lost youth and almost like. When she starts hanging out with Gary, like almost getting like a sense of purpose, a direction in her life.
Oh, totally, totally.
Because
he provides the direction.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's definitely explained in the film is that she's mid-20s and lacking purpose and direction in her life, and through Gary she's able to get that.
Yeah, and let's talk about the grooming of this whole thing. Is that I don't room. Yeah, exactly. Let's bring it up. I don't think at all that it's like I totally get with people being turned off just by the fact of that in a whole. If watching this as a just physical direct romance story, then it's really difficult to root for. It's really tricky to actually root for this romance, which is how I sort of felt in the first time watching it as well.
Yeah, same.
But upon this, seeing them almost as symbols for one another changes the whole thing. As well as like an argument that I came out of first time watching this, which is very, very fair and a good point of discussion, is imagine the roles are reversed, right? 25-year-old guy, 15-year-old girl. And all the arguments could be said that, like, maybe this 25-year-old guy has no purpose or direction in his life, but then the 15-year-old girl is really ambitious, and then there's that romance there. And like, I hate to say it, but it is different, though. It is a different situation and makes it ethically a different scenario with the genders being what they are.
Yeah, you definitely would look at it. You would look at it a different way if the roles were reversed.
But I think that there is different. The context is important. That thinking about men and women in like a heteronormative relationship, that like that the man is usually this predatory figure. In this dynamic between Gary and Alana never is the predatory figure in it. Is never the instigator, and Gary always is. Yeah. And that does change the sort of physical layering of this relationship that they have. And not including the actual kiss at the end, which I think that is very, very loaded, and that is a lot of things that can be taken from that. But everything before that, they are not physically intimate in any way other than really the closest thing being Alana showing her boobs to Gary.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that is, So I think that they are more symbols to one another than actual physical things to lust over. Other than, of course, Gary lusts over Alana, but that's because he is the sort of instigator and almost like predatory force in this love, in this romance.
Yeah, right. And then on the opposing side, you got, Alana like rebuffing him every chance that she gets, kind of thing. Because there's that hesitance and like they're like, no, this is fucking weird, kind of thing. More so like she's in love with him in the way that she is given a sense of purpose and almost like a second chance to relive her lost youth in a sense.
Yeah, totally, and also like we feel like we're supposed to feel weird about this romance because so does Alana through the whole movie. She is feeling so conflicted and strange about it all, and if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the age thing, this would be a very different story we're looking at. There would be a lot less hesitancy there. That probably it would be they meet, they like each other, and then they're together and it's fine.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The story is the age gap, really. And it is
definitely
what that means to one another. Why is Alana willing to almost break or tatter the line of breaking this taboo for just any old guy? Because it's not any old guy.
Taboo. I like the use of taboo. Not crime, taboo. I like that.
Yeah, well, but also there's no, like, excluding the kiss, the crime isn't, like, the taboo is the relationship, right?
Yeah, no, I get you. I just thought it was funny, yeah.
But, yeah. I hope that makes sense and does not come across as illegal.
Yeah. I reckon, I definitely think that you've made your point clear and that it's not like justifying the age gap dynamic between the two. Like to me you make sense, I reckon. Like, I haven't got the cops on speed dial right now.
Okay, good. Because in conclusion, it is fucking weird and it's complicated and it's probably like it's not right. Like it's not the ideal scenario. But yes. Anyway, moving on.
Well, before we move on, can I just state that I would have liked this film a lot more if it did not end on the kiss. That is one thing I had a problem with, like, initially while watching the film, and again, like, rewatching it in a more mature state, it's still like if they just did not include the kiss scene. Like I think I would have gone away from this film loving it a lot more. I feel that the kiss scene it cheapens the film, it cheapens the dynamic, it just cheapens the overall experience.
I have to agree with you, man. It's maybe not needed. Like
no, it definitely is not needed.
A loaded hug, a passionate, loaded, loving hug could have done the same and more, right?
Yeah.
And what I think that I was thinking about this kiss a lot, and I think that the reason that it happens is it being a symbol of embracing that piece of yourself that you're neglecting and trying to repress.
Right.
And it is like the the physical coming together of these two worlds, but a passionate hug could have done the same thing.
There are so many more alternatives that PTA could have done that would have been just as good, if not better, in concluding this relationship per se.
Totally. I agree with you. Okay, let's talk about some other random little bits and pieces that are like quite integral in the sort of because the same thing happens here, that in these romances where PTA it is an up and down spiral where they seem to be going really strong and the next minute they're not. And let's talk about this whole John Peters situation when Bradley Cooper enters the frame and he plays this crazy. Do you know John Peters as a person in Hollywood?
No, I'll be honest. I thought he was playing a made up character. I didn't think that this John Peters character actually existed. What's his story?
Well, I actually have no idea. He is like a real film producer and really exists and was like the boyfriend of Barbara Streisand.
Sand.
Yeah, I'm saying sand.
No, I'm trying to be like fucking this character in the movie.
I know.
Oh,
during the entire scene, I kept on saying it, thinking that I was like, am I getting it wrong? I'm there talking with him. Also, dude, if you look at a photo of what John Peters looks like, they're like a photo with him and Barbara Streisand together when they were a couple. Holy shit, Bradley Cooper looks exactly like him. I'm actually gonna send you this photo actually.
Yeah, please do, because my internet's out right now, so I would love to see this.
Oh, true. You need to
have my mind blown.
I can be your internet right now. I can.
The legend himself. God bless.
It's coming through, but I always, in my first viewing, I felt his inclusion was very strange, very, very odd, and I did not feel like it was fitting other than like a funny little distraction or scene. Yeah. Did you feel the same way about John Peters?
The first time, I enjoyed it. I thought he gave a pretty, funny performance. But the scene and the sequence itself is like really fucking tense. But it didn't fit. It just felt like it was just like a little segment of the film, like just another segment of this story. Almost like part of an anthology.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's like that we're living through the summer with these people. Like, what summer antics are they getting up to?
Yeah, completely.
And my favorite part of the scene, and probably where I feel like it's the most relevant, is that it felt almost like they were trying to do a bit of like a Jesse's Girl scene, like PTA getting out his high intensity, extremely high stakes glove, directing gloves out for another scene, like set in these sort of Hollywood hills in the 70s, and like instead of it being like what we see in Jesse's Girl, it's sort of done through my freaking stomach sank when they beat up the car and then the truck runs out of petrol, right?
That's what I mean. Like, it's just such a tense fucking sequence. Oh my days.
You feel so afraid for these people. You are like, they're gonna fucking die. They're going to, like, this crazy man that threatened to kill them they are now fucked. Oh my god, it was intense.
Oh my god, and even before that, like when they initially leave the house after messing up his bedroom after when filling up the water bed, you're already tense from that because like, oh god, he's gonna come home and sees that they need to get the fuck out of here, and then they pick him up, then ditch him at the gas station, break the car. Like, oh my god, it's just like one thing after another, just piling on. It's just like, it makes your skin crawl and your stomach turn.
You also think like, why did they fuck up his house like this? Why did they not, like, they're obviously scared, right? Why are they reacting now dangerously? Why are they not reacting cautiously in their fear? I know fear responses. I guess. Guess we're not all perfect.
Yeah, right.
But
I mean, also, because like he threatened Gary's little brother, being like, I'm gonna break into your house and I'm gonna murder him or whatever he says, kind of thing. So maybe it's almost like, you know, it's him trying to get back almost.
Oh, well, to be honest, I would feel in that case, I would not want to fuck over this man that is threatening to kill my brother. I would probably try as hard as possible to be forgotten in this man's memory, so then, not fucking poke this bear.
Well, that's the thing though. That's you thinking through the eyes of a man in his early 20s. Meanwhile, where you know we're able to kind of, you know, weigh the options and the outcomes, and you know we're more aware of the dangers of these situations. For a 15-year-old, they, like, for lack of a better word, they would do that less so and would act on complete impulse almost.
You are so right, and I love that you said that, because that takes me to, I think, the importance of this entire scene, right? Because this is one of those turning points for Gary and Alana's relationship, where it results in this amazing moment of when, after there's the big reversing of the truck in neutral down the Hollywood Hills, which fantastic, intense scene that was done. Do you know that it was done practically, and Alana learnt how to do that?
No way!
She drove the car through doing that.
That's insane. What the fuck? Oh, that makes the sequence even better. Wow.
And not only could she not drive a manual truck before that, but she couldn't, so she had to learn how to drive a manual and then learn how to fucking drive it backwards in neutral down these windy hills.
That's
crazy.
That is fucking maddening, bro. Oh my god, respect, bro. Honestly.
Yeah. Completely. And then they get to the bottom of the hill finally, and there's this great moment of contrasting reactions where Gary is celebrating this and Alana is stuck in this shell-shocked. She's shell-shocked to her core, completely distraught and almost lost. And what I saw this as is her realizing that she has something to lose, but Gary, he really doesn't. And that's a big difference between being an adult and being a kid.
Yeah.
And that's why Gary is doing this sort of, like, irresponsible shit, is that he has no responsibilities. Where Alana, as an adult, could go to fucking jail because of this.
God, true.
Like, and she realizes it, and she's caught up in the excitement of it all when it's all sort of happening. Yeah. And she is sort of reliving that youth. And this is the scene, the integral scene to show her that reliving her youth can be dangerous. Yeah. And even though that it has been quite glamorous, and it is also what she needs and wants in her life at this time, but to a certain point, it can really fuck her over.
It can be destructive almost. Yeah.
It's the reason why adults, it's not accepted for them to act like kids. Because there's actually stakes for adults.
Yeah, stakes and consequences. Yeah, fucking hell.
And then it's followed up by us seeing so directly that Gary is such a child. He's there, like, with the gas canister, all of his friends, like, jerking off the freaking gas nozzle together.
A bunch of kids acting like kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alana is starting to see through this, because Alana looks so up to Gary, right? And then after all of this is like, you're a kid, and then it's followed almost immediately by these scenes of her telling him that she sees through his bullshit.
Yeah.
And then that shift sort of leads to this phase of the movie where Alana is like, she's almost ambitiously dipping her toes into adulthood with the political campaign that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think the purpose of this was that adulthood will often sort of get, like, that leads then to this sort of romance that she has with these people working at the campaign office.
With one of the it's one of the Safdie brothers that plays the fucking politician, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's Benny.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Benny Safdie.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I recognize it. I recognize those beautiful eyes anywhere.
It made me think about how I'm like, is Benny Safdie really that much of like a good actor? Because I don't really think he is, and I also like he's not that crazily handsome, and he looks a little bit awkward and sort of like sticks out like a sore thumb usually in environments.
Yeah.
And then watching him in this though, I was like, you know what? I think he actually is quite good. I think he's actually very good at what he's doing.
No, he's really good in this. In some of the movies that he does, I think he's really good in this, especially the dinner scene with him, Alana, and his lover, which is. God, it's heartbreaking to watch, man.
Yeah, and he just uses Alana as a beard.
Yes. Oh my! Like I remember going into this film, and for some reason remembering not liking the whole political little storyline that happens in this film. I remember like thinking, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to this part. And then going into it, I'm like, wait a minute, why did I remember not liking this? This is really captivating, especially the dinner scene, and felt like, oh my day, like when she walks, I forgot his lover's name, but when Alana walks him home, pretending that they're partners, and that scene of them talking about how all men are shit, and then that hug that they give, oh my days, that was so fucking sad, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Matthew, the boyfriend, does a great job. Of his small appearance, holds a lot of weight.
Completely.
And I think that I could be wrong here. This is my perception. Is that I think that this era of the film, this phase of the film, is for Alana to sort of see that even in adulthood as well, that being an adult can sort of get in the way of love, and I think is what is sort of leads her back to Gary and thinking, you know what, I have my entire life to be an adult, why do I not just embrace my youth as much as I can now?
Yeah, right.
And that's what like leads to the romantic climax, is her realizing, I can always do this. There's no rush. Why rush? And for like and also like Alana is very much the main character in this film. Gary is
definitely.
Gary is great and has great screen presence, but his transformation is nothing in comparison to Alana's. And like he acts in service of her character more so than the other way around.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting going back into this film because like going into it initially, you know, I'm under the pretense that Gary is the main character because you know it's presented as a coming of age movie. It's like
he's the boy.
It's exactly, and you know it's also not that he like had a lot of films beforehand. I think this was his acting debut as well. But Cooper Hoffman, who obviously being the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace. You think that's the big star power and the main driving force of this film. When really he is more so the kind of how do you call it? The driving he's more so maybe not plot device is the wrong word, but his purpose serves yes, that's good. He's the catalyst to Alana's story where she is, as you said, the real main character in this film.
And it's the first PTA movie with a female protagonist.
Oh, yeah, true. Damn. Fucking hell. Only took
Forward
you.
Good on you, PTA.
Films.
Exactly. Only 9 movies to get there. Good job. So like people call Tarantino the misogynistic director. Only took him 3 movies to get a female protagonist.
Exactly.
Then,
where's the PTA haters, man?
His 3rd, 4th, and 5th movie, all female protagonists, and they call him the misogynist just because he likes a bit of feet here and there.
It's unfair, is what it is. It's unfair.
Yeah. And okay, so speaking of Tarantino, actually, this film weirdly, I was thinking about this through the whole thing, is a weird interesting comparison piece to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I was talking to my mate Aaron on our way to watch Megalopolis that that it has that same aura, that same energy as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does.
They're both the 9th film in their respective directors' filmographies.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. What the fuck? Oh, true.
Yeah. They're both set in the Once Upon a Time is 60s, but where this one is 70s. But, still based in LA and still has this warm, glamorous view and romanticized view of the time, where it doesn't hide for a second that it is not recreating, that it is showing you through like a sort of rose-tinted glasses reimagination. Not for a second do they try and hide that, but what they're both where they contrast, I think, the most in their essence is that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tries to rewrite history, where Licorice Pizza tries to recreate a memory.
Yeah.
And that is foundationally where they go in different directions. But interesting companion pieces. I think
definitely.
Where Licorice Pizza is a movie to be felt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one to be thought over, I think, instead of viscerally felt.
That's not a bad way of thinking about the two in comparison.
Yeah. But I think that we can almost probably wrap this up in just a bit. Did you have any other bits that you wanted to say about the ending and how you feel overall about the film?
I feel like I've said my piece about the ending and how that maybe given like a rewrite or two could have made for a more impactful experience in a 100% capacity. But one thing that I enjoy, but also I have a bit of an issue with the film is just I like that because there is a story in this film, but for the most part, it is a slice of life film, and you get little mini stories in this. But the problem is that some of them it's like an anthology in it. It's like some stories you're just more invested in than others. Obviously, you got not Cooper, fucking hell. you got Gary and Alana's meet cute. You got her chaperoning him. The just little side story of Sean Penn being introduced. Little stories like that some I just prefer more than others. Like the Sean Penn stuff, I really didn't care for. I didn't do anything for me.
Agreed.
Apart from serving as the purpose of it serving to lead to the let me roll it scene. I think I can get through that segment just to get to that scene. That's fine. It's a means to an end. But I think I'm torn between how the film is presented and pace. Is that I enjoy it because I like myself a slice of life film, but after a while it just gets a bit tiresome in my opinion. I feel like maybe the structure could have definitely maybe done with a rewrite, I reckon, but that's just me.
I definitely did pause it halfway through to go get some food, and I went, oh my god, it's only halfway through?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
what
not
else is to be said and done here?
Yeah, it's not the best pace in I nearly said Wes Anderson, in PTA's filmography. Not that it's bad, not that it's a bore or a chore to get through. Like I said, it's a nice vibe movie, but it definitely could have maybe done with a bit of a rewrite.
Yeah, I think that I really enjoy this film. I liked my time with it, without a doubt, and I'm not questioning that. It is, but I do not appreciate the lack of cleanliness of it, and I think that you're so right that just a couple more drafts and then you're there. Because what it does right, it does so fucking right, and it almost just feels like it shit. And it almost just feels like it shits the bed in moments that then ruins it a little bit.
Yeah, and I find myself... sorry, you go first.
And it's like... It's almost like there's a burger that is like... The patty is amazing. The bun is fucking brilliant. The tomatoes fresh. The sauce fantastic. But the lettuce, just this one sort of part of it, is a little bit old and has this gross taste to it. And then you take a bite of this burger and you can identify that all the elements are really, really good and you enjoy them separately. But as a whole, the lettuce sort of takes it from a 10 out of 10 burger to a 6 out of 10 burger. Just because it overpowers, even though that one little bit was messed up, it sort of overpowers and sort of sours the whole process and experience, sadly.
Yeah, and you're almost left you're left almost screaming, like, for lack of a better word, screaming at the burger or at the film, where it's like you were almost you're almost there. You could have been perfect if it just wasn't for these certain elements or this shitty lettuce or the bland pickles. We were this close to perfection.
Yeah, and I was seeing in another interview with PTA that he was saying that this movie, he had this person in his life who was like, I love your films, you're a great filmmaker, but can you make a movie that just everyone gets, please?
Yeah, right.
And this is probably the most accessible in the way that it is pretty much like, it can be taken at face value as like a clean romance movie.
Yeah, completely. That's how I took it initially, but yeah.
And is that potentially why it had to end with that kiss? Is because trying to make it like that people said you can't have this romance movie building up to these two people being together and they don't kiss? And is that why they put it there?
You know what? That might be the case. It could be.
But even despite all of that, I don't want to ignore how viscerally this movie made me feel. And the ideas that are in there are wonderful, I think. Essentially, the push and pull between two contrasts. This almost romanticization when you are a kid of growing up and wanting to be an adult when you're not yet. But then it has, this teenager masking it as an adult, pulling against an adult worried that they no longer have their youth. And when the two ideas meet and collide, maybe, where is it meeting in the middle that the euphoria and the answer sort of comes? And I think that ultimately what PTA does in this celebration of youth is he provokes the idea for you to not take your youth for granted when it's there. Is that Gary's dedicated desire to grow up too quick is what puts up the walls around himself. And Alana taking a little bit more time, putting less pressure on herself, and embracing that she is still young and her youth has not left her yet, is ultimately what's going to bring Alana happiness.
Don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like podcast without the ask.